European segment, Japanese, and then the Japanese supply ship that we just caught. Next. I mean, on the ground, and I like this picture because the previous one makes it look really, really big. But this one just shows you in a little more perspective. There's that whole sequence of modules, and there's our Earth, how small it is and how amazing it is to have 6 people living and working in that space. Next. This is a cupola that is on the bottom of the space station, and it looks like it's on the top, and we're looking up, but really the Earth is down here, and it's on the bottom, and it's got 6 windows. It was built in Italy, and then a big window on the top here, and it's completely changed our view of the Earth in both an emotional and in a technical way. Next. By looking out these windows, these side windows, we're able to see places on the Earth coming, and then they're right under us, and then they're going. Whereas before, most of our windows are like portals, where you have to be looking, and the Earth is just racing by at 5 miles a second. And to take pictures that are really important for understanding the health of our Earth, it's difficult to do. You have to know exactly when you're going to be over there, and you still have to be able to find that object or that, we did things like when the tsunami hit Japan, they asked us to take pictures at night of Japan to understand how much power was still available and working in Japan. When they had the flooding in the Mississippi this past spring and late spring, we took pictures of the Mississippi to understand a little bit of the extent of the flooding. We're constantly taking picture after picture of different places all over the world to understand how the whole world's ecosystem interacts. And yet from an emotional sense, I think having this place with windows is just so, so important for humans to look out and see the place that they come from. Next. And I love this picture this is actually Tracy Caldwell, a friend of mine. She's taking this is those 6 windows and then the big window at the bottom. Next. Took a lot of pictures. Next. And I'm from Massachusetts, so you have to look at a little of Massachusetts. I flew with a guy on my first mission from Massachusetts as well, and we both got to see the East Coast at the very same time, and we looked out, and he goes, "Oh my God, it looks just like the map." Next. I just think it's really pretty. There's Cape Cod again, now a different angle. Next. And so now here's that little Cape Cod. And here's Long Island, New York City, the Hudson River. Let's see, Connecticut River going up here. Here's the Quabbin Reservoir. Here's Boston. And my husband lives right up there. Next. But this should be a familiar picture to you. So this is Denver at night. So Uncle Bob, I didn't forget. I would often be going, oh, here we go, over Denver. Next. Here's a daytime photograph all put together. So there's the airport out there. Here's the city. To me, it's fascinating to take pictures up close so you can really see them. And you can really see the detail and kind of have this strange observer point of view where you get to look down and think about what's going on down there. But then I like the ones that are taken more from a distance that show you sort of the emotional part of being up there as a human and seeing your planet pass below. Next. This is that map that just will show Denver like that. And so there's the airport. Next, there's the airport, yeah. We go around the Earth every hour and a half, so 16 sunrises and sunsets every day. Next. And I love this picture. So indeed, for people like me that started off as geography zeros, here's Italy, shaped indeed like a boot. Kind of interesting. Look back here. So this is Germany back here. See all the lights that are on in Italy? And then not so many lights in Germany. Isn't that interesting? One of the kids in school said, well, maybe they go to bed earlier in Germany. And maybe they do. I don't know. But it was an interesting phenomenon. And I flew with an Italian, so we have a lot of pictures of Italy. But this is now that kind of more emotional way of looking at the Earth. This is at night. And truthfully, we don't really see it this way when we look with the naked eye. These are some newer cameras that we have that allow us to take some light-sensitive pictures. And so when I would look down at this, I certainly would see all these lights, but it looks more like either bright light or black darkness, and a little bit more sort of black and white in that way. And I can see this limb of the Earth, but not as well. This is the atmosphere. Next. And then at home, so I have a husband, an 11-year-old, a 28-year-old, and so they're at home, not on the space station. I'm getting all the good deals. I got to speak with them at least once a day, as many times as I wanted, really. We have 40 minutes every hour that the kind of communication that we need with the kind of satellite usually lines up. And we have an internet protocol phone. And so I can call. I can call home, and it's sort of nice for me. I can call them. They can't call me, which is a little frustrating if you're the spouse, I think. But this is just the way it works. This is my husband, Josh, who is not, I think he is a Viking in that, he had to stay home. Next slide, Jamie. He's a glass artist in Western Massachusetts. And so, he's working away. He's actually an amazing glass artist who just makes these beautiful planets. They're glass planets that we'll see in a minute here. But they're at home. I got video conferences once a week. It's just a different way of being a family. I won't say it was easy. I won't say it was okay. It is what it is. I try to be there in my own way for being home, and at the same time, I think that the work that I do is important and important enough to give up being there every day. Next. It was hard to leave the 11-year-old, and in a way now by being home, it's a little harder to leave again, even for trips like this. Although there's times when he doesn't get his way here that he'll say, I liked it better when you were in space. I'm like, I know, sweetie, I know you wanted to do that. Just can't happen. Your dad's strict and so am I. Next. But, this picture I put in because it shows the curiosity, and that's one reason why I'm here and why we're all here, and that is the curiosity of the younger generation that we should never forget. The way they think about having a frog, catching a frog, and what the frog is doing, and looking at their world with different eyes. I think we have a lot to learn from them, and also realize that we are their shepherds, and we are the people that will help them get where they need to go. Next. This is some of my husband's glass planets up in space. I think it gives you a little perspective. I mean, this is one planet. It's our planet. We need to take care of it. It's a fragile planet. And I think being up in space, it prepares us to go on to other places like the moon and Mars, but it also gives us a very unique view of the Earth and scientifically gives us some data to be able to take better care of our planet. I know we thought a lot about a lot of national pride here with the military parade. I will be candid and say it's a little bit hard for me to feel totally American up there, in that it's almost impossible to feel like one country, any country, is so important when you look down and you see no borders, when you see that it's all just one place and a lot of people who live on this place and live next door and don't always know each other. Next. Oh, this is the planets up in space. And, to me, of course I'm married to Josh, and people give us a hard time because he makes glass planets and I like to go to them. And I was lucky enough to we get to bring a few things of our own up into space. But this is exploration of a different kind. Everybody has a vision of what else is out there and where we live and what our place is in this universe. And artists have a place in that too. I know that Denver has a really, healthy and wonderful art environment. And that's important to be bringing with us to these other planets as well. Next, Jamie. Next. We don't know what they're going to look like. Next. 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 And just the last few as we're landing here. We'll go through these pretty quickly, Jamie. So this is closing the hatch. Just keep pushing your button there, Jamie. Parachute landing. The way you just keep pushing buttons, Jamie, and show us. The way Scott Kelly described this to me was that it was like going over Niagara Falls in a barrel, on fire, followed by a head-on collision. And it was pretty accurate, I have to say. And one thing you said that really stuck with me, the parachute opening shock is probably the worst, and then that thing is like spinning and swinging. And he said, Katie, once you figure out that it's not going to kill you, it's actually pretty fun. And that's what I really kept with me. This is us landing. I mean, it's pretty amazing. Climbing out, looking out. I had to really look and see that the world was really standing still, because your head is really pretty mixed up about which way is up and what's motionless and what's not. And it's nice to be back home. And we can stop next one. We can stop right here, Jamie. It's nice to be back home. I'd forgotten when I had such an amazing view. I mean, I do actually very much in a sort of visceral way miss living up there and miss being, I felt like a colonist. It was just really a special place to be. And yet it wasn't until I was back home and you're in the middle of the view, and the view is something you can touch and feel the